Asterix. Hi Mockingbirds, I am back and it's been a long time, but I just had to post about this. The title is a little clickbaity, but I wanted to weigh in because I feel like I'm a little uniquely qualified because I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for almost 15 years, and I also took some classes in Chicago for improv and was in our improv group in college. I am not saying I am anywhere near any of the whole dropout or any of that scene. However, I do try to live my life by the rules of improv, and that is why I believe that Brennan is a better DM than Matt Mercer. Asterix. I do believe Matt Mercer has had some things stack up against him over the years, and that's a little bit why I have this opinion. So I do believe this is not 100% fair, and I will say that is because I do feel as if Matt Mercer and his friends just started a game of Dungeons and Dragons, and they were voice actors, and you know, they wanted to do this and were having fun. And I do think that Matt Mercer, in creating Exandria and everything else, didn't necessarily have the luxury of being able to create Critical Role in the thoughts of how, like, what it's become. They never believed, or never, not, I think they believed in themselves, they never imagined that it would be so big, and unfortunately they had to continue on what they started with. It kind of stunted the creativity a little bit. And I also believe, in his defense, I think especially around like season 2, season 3, there was kind of a weight upon Matt of like, I am in charge of many people's livelihoods, and I need to make sure I'm performing to make sure all these people, you know, keep their jobs, whether it was right or wrong. You know, obviously there's more people in production. The actors are still in charge of making, but I felt like there was this like kind of weight upon him when he was realizing that this was, you know, their career path. With that being said, these are 3 reasons why I think Brennan Lee Mulligan is a better DM. Number 1, and usually people save the biggest reason for last or whatever, but this kind of informs just the other 2. The number 1 rule of improv is yes and. Yes, and every improviser knows. And I believe every creative person should know this, but not every medium kind of follows the whole idea of yes and. But I believe that D&D, you know, is a cooperative game. It's not really you against the DM. It's you and the DM creating a story and a journey for you all to like play in. I think that was kind of where Matt Mercer goes a little awry, is that I feel like he holds on very tight to his story, and I think this probably stems a lot from like he's in charge of, you know, people's livelihoods. I don't think that's fully it, but I feel like he holds the story tight, and I think the other actors feel that, and that kind of comes through. I feel, some people can disagree and that's fine, that the characters are acting in Matt Mercer's story. I'm not saying he's railroading them. I'm not going to put that claim because people would be all up in arms. But I do feel like there's a certain thought that, you know, Matt is in charge of the storyline, and a little bit of, you know, like people had to create their backstories based off of Matt Mercer's history and story of the world. That didn't breed too much creativity in the world because it was only Matt Mercer and his ideas. Brennan is an improviser first and foremost. He lives his life by yes and was actually a creator of this meme here. This isn't based on the skill level. This is just like the vibes that they're based off of. And I put Matt Mercer in lawful good because I think he follows the rules a little too much. I mean, obviously you need to follow the rules. I believe that he could have let go for cool storytelling reasons instead of kind of following the rules. And I think that's why I have Brennan Lee Mulligan as chaotic good, is because I feel like he is basically saying to the characters, yes, let's do it. He obviously like knows the rules and tries to follow them, but I think he prioritizes good storytelling over, the rules. So the second reason why Brennan Lee Mulligan is a better DM than Matt Mercer is because I feel as if everyone on Critical Role wants to be something else. I'm not saying they don't love D&D. I don't want to be that unfair. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm trying to say is that they all started off as voice actors. And I think, they became friends through voice acting, and that's kind of what their career path was. And then they kind of started doing this, and they found that they loved it, and it's great. However, I still feel like they do not believe that they are D&D players. I believe they want to do something else, which is fine, which is okay. I think there are other pathways that they want to do. They want to voice act. I do believe Matt Mercer loves writing and creating more than acting. I don't know, I could be wrong. Liam is an artist, so he's been working on, the books, the comic books, and, they all kind of have, that wasn't their original career trajectory. Whereas I do feel like Brennan and the cast, that was their career trajectory. Brennan wanted to play, he got on Dropout to play D&D. Okay, let's back up. They are improvisers, but I feel like their goals in Dropout is to produce D&D content, if that makes sense. That is their responsibilities. They have other responsibilities but that is, what they are there to do and want to do. And I believe this this is very, very picky, and maybe other people won't see this that way, but that's totally fine, is in Critical Role's commercials or whatever, some of them are Matt Mercer or Laura Bailey are oh, I'm vexed and you need to do your homework and make sure you do this. Just kidding. We do D&D on Thursday nights. And that just kidding, I feel takes the audience out of it. And that's just an example of what I feel with the Critical Role cast. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just kind of my thoughts. And finally, the third reason why I think Brennan Lee Mulligan is a better DM is timing. It's all about timing, and it's a different skill. And this is where I think his improv background really helps him, is I've noticed the pacing. Well, first of all, the pacing is a lot snappier. He knows when to cut a scene, and I think that has to do with improv and comedy, is that in comedy you let things get to a height, maybe a beat or two after, just to bring home the point, and then you cut it off and you move on. You can barely teach timing to people, and that is a success. That's a successful improvisers that they can know the timing, and then they can move the scene along once the action or whatever is done. I think the issue with Matt Mercer is that he's an actor. He's a voice actor. I don't know if he's directed, but I'm sure he's worked with directors and stuff. And acting, they want people to sit in the moment, carry that moment on, feel that moment, because there will be cuts. There will be, you know, once you go back on the cutting room floor, they can see where the moment kind of has stagnated and they can cut it off. Unfortunately, Matt Mercer doesn't have that luxury, but he still has that acting, you know, like, what are we getting out of this scene? Like, more, give me more. Like, I don't want to cut him off, which is fine, but I don't want to cut him off because there might be something like great that comes out of, even if it's, you know, kind of stagnated, something great might come out of it. That's all well and good for acting. It's all well and good for, you know, when you get to cut scenes and stuff. But I think that timing is what, especially the third season of Critical Role, was missing, is that things kind of dragged on and they went past the point of the action and stagnated. So that is my 3 reasons. I do believe that Matt Mercer is a wonderful DM, and I believe he has built, you know, this empire, and he, you know, has been great. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for listening to the, you know, audience and trying new things. And I think this video is a little unfair because I do think, you know, after 3 years, you know, they're trying to mix it up. So I don't really think it's whether Matt Mercer is better or if Brennan Mulligan's better. I think there are different styles. I believe that improv has a lot to do with the success that Brennan is seeing while he's DMing. And I hope I will see you more often than I have.